Why you never see it coming. Have you ever met someone who seemed almost magnetic? The kind of person who walks into a room and instantly commands your attention, not with loudness, but with an energy that feels captivating? They seem confident, charming, maybe even a little mysterious. You feel drawn to them. But here's the truth. That's the first move of a narcissist, and it's a move you rarely see coming. Why? Because the hook doesn't look like a hook. It feels like admiration, connection, and sometimes even love. It feels like they truly see you, as if no one else ever has. And that feeling? It's addictive. Psychology calls this the idealization phase, the part where they make you feel special, chosen, significant. They study your weaknesses like a master strategist. They notice what makes you light up, what makes you insecure, and what you crave most, and then they mirror it back to you perfectly. But here's where Stoic wisdom cuts through the illusion. Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Narcissists understand this truth better than most. They can't control reality, so they control your perception of it. They don't attack you head-on. They pull you in with praise, attention, and validation, knowing your mind will do the rest. And before you realize what's happening, you've built an image of them in your mind, an image so perfect that you ignore the cracks. That's the silent hook. They make you fall for a version of them that doesn't actually exist. Here's the painful part. The reason this works so well is because of our own unmet needs. Deep down, many of us long for recognition, approval, and a sense of worth. And when someone offers that, especially in a world that often ignores us, we grab it. Stoics warned us about this weakness centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Yet when a narcissist enters the scene, they hijack those thoughts, and suddenly, your happiness feels tied to their approval. The first step to breaking free is awareness. Because the moment you see the hook for what it is, it loses its power. The problem isn't that they charm you. The problem is believing that charm equals character. And in this video, we're going to dismantle every single trick they use and every single weakness they exploit through the lens of timeless Stoic wisdom. Because the truth is simple. They only control what you allow them to control. Charm is a weapon when flattery becomes a trap. Picture this. You're having a casual conversation, and suddenly, they say something that makes you feel seen. Something like, "You're not like other people. I can tell you're special." Feels good, doesn't it? That little rush of dopamine. That feeling of being unique in someone's eyes. And here's where the danger begins. Narcissists know something most people ignore. Flattery is one of the fastest shortcuts to influence. It's not about complimenting you randomly. It's strategic. They compliment you in the exact area you're most insecure about. If you've always doubted your intelligence, they'll praise your brilliance. If you secretly crave admiration for your looks, they'll call you stunning in a way no one notices. And you start thinking, wow, this person really gets me. But that's the trap. They don't get you. They're playing you. Here's what makes this trick so effective. Ego blindness. We all want to believe we're exceptional. So when someone validates that belief, our critical thinking goes offline. This is exactly what Stoics warned us against, placing too much weight on external opinions. Epictetus said, "If you seek truth, you will not seek victory by dishonorable means. And if you find truth, you will become invincible." But when you crave validation, you stop seeking truth and start seeking approval. That's when you become vulnerable. Flattery is not always innocent. In the hands of a narcissist, it's a weapon, a soft blade that cuts deep without you even feeling the pain. Why? Because the wound is invisible. While you're basking in praise, they're building control. Here's the Stoic perspective. The moment your happiness depends on someone else's words, you've handed them power over your peace. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. Notice he didn't say, think about what others think of you. He said, appreciate life itself, Because the minute you measure your worth through someone else's eyes, you're no longer free. So what do? First, develop inner validation. When you know your worth, flattery becomes just words, not chains. Second, question motives. Ask yourself, why is this person praising me right now? Genuine admiration feels different from manipulative praise. One uplifts without expectation, the other feels like bait. The next time someone showers you with compliments too soon, too much, or too specific, pause. Remember this: true strength isn't in being admired. It's in being immune to the need for admiration. Gaslighting 101. The art of making you doubt yourself. Imagine this. You remember something clearly, what they said, what they did, but when you bring it up, they smile and say, that never happened. You're imagining things. Or worse, wow, you're really sensitive. Are you okay? You always overreact. At first, you laugh it off. Maybe you are being dramatic. But then it happens again, and again, until one day, you're staring at the mirror thinking, am I losing my mind? This is gaslighting, a narcissist's favorite weapon. It's not about lying to you once. It's about making you question your reality so deeply that you start relying on theirs. And here's the sinister brilliance. Gaslighting doesn't start loud. It starts subtle. A raised eyebrow when you speak your truth. A casual denial of something they clearly said. A joking tone that masks an insult. Over time, these tiny seeds grow into massive doubts. The Stoics warned us about this exact danger, not from narcissists, but from our own minds. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But when someone starts manipulating your perception, it feels like your mind is no longer yours. That's why gaslighting is so effective. It turns your inner fortress into sand. Here's how it works. Step 1. Denial of reality. They reject facts. That didn't happen. Step 2. Invalidation. They make you feel irrational. You're too emotional. Step 3. Replacement. They offer their version as the truth. What really happened was, soon, you stop trusting yourself. You stop trusting your memory, your feelings, even your instincts. And once you lose that trust, they own you, because you'll depend on them to tell you what's real. But here's the Stoic antidote: self-ownership. Epictetus said, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. The same applies to truth. Stop outsourcing your reality. So what do? Document your truth. Keep a journal. Write things down as they happen. It's your anchor when doubts creep in. Listen to your gut. Narcissists want you to think your feelings are wrong. But feelings are signals, not verdicts, but signals. Don't ignore them. Draw boundaries early. If someone constantly twists your words, that's not confusion, that's control. Gaslighting thrives in silence. Call it what it is, even if only to yourself. Because the moment you name the game, you've already started winning it. Remember this: your mind is your kingdom. A narcissist can only rule it if you hand over the crown. Stoic perspective, Epictetus warning about control. There's a reason we're bringing Stoicism into this conversation, because narcissistic manipulation isn't new. The methods may have evolved, but the principle remains the same. People will always try to control what they cannot truly own: your mind. Epictetus, a man born into slavery, understood this better than anyone. He had no control over his circumstances. He couldn't choose his master, his conditions, or even his freedom. Yet he discovered a truth that made him unbreakable. Some things are in our control, and others not. Read that again. If you truly understood this one sentence, most manipulation would lose its power. Narcissists thrive on one thing: convincing you that your peace depends on their behavior. If they can make you believe that they control you without chains. When they flatter you, they're saying, your worth depends on my opinion. When they gaslight you, they're saying, your reality depends on my version. When they devalue you, they're saying, your happiness depends on my approval. But Epictetus would laugh at this game. Why? Because he knew the only thing that truly belongs to you, your thoughts, your choices, your response, cannot be stolen unless you give it away. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati, love your fate. Not because everything is good, but because everything is within your power to interpret. Narcissists want to break that interpretation. They want you reactive, emotional, confused, because confusion breeds control. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The only reason narcissists succeed is because we hand over what we were meant to guard, our inner freedom. We hand it over for approval, attention, love, or security. And Stoicism asks a brutal question. Is any of that worth your soul? Marcus Aurelius warned, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What does this mean for you? Stop giving emotional discounts. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Recognize the illusion of control. They don't own you unless you sell yourself cheap. Practice the Stoic pause. Before reacting, ask, is this within my control? If yes, act with reason. If no, let it go. If you can live by this, you become someone no narcissist can control. Not because they stop trying, but because their tricks bounce off the walls of your unshakable mind. Here's the irony. Narcissists hate Stoics. Why? Because you can't manipulate someone who's indifferent to flattery, immune to insults, and anchored in reason. That's what we're building in this video. Not just awareness, but armor. The scarcity illusion. How they make you chase their approval. Have you ever noticed how much we value things that seem rare? Limited edition sneakers, VIP tickets, the last piece of cake on the table. Scarcity creates urgency. And narcissists? They've mastered this psychology better than any marketing guru alive. They start by giving you abundance, attention, compliments, connection. It feels intoxicating. But just when you think you've secured their approval, they pull away. They go cold. They get distant. Suddenly, the person who once made you feel like the center of their world barely acknowledges you. And what happens next? You chase. You start asking yourself questions like, did I do something wrong? Why aren't they texting like before? How do I win them back? Congratulations. You've just fallen into one of the oldest traps in human psychology, intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that makes slot machines addictive. You don't win every time, but when you do, it feels so good that you keep pulling the lever. Narcissists operate the same way. They give you validation in doses, then starve you, making every crumb feel like a feast. This tactic works because of a deep human fear, the fear of losing something valuable. And here's where Stoicism slices through the illusion like a blade. Epictetus said, never depend on the admiration of others. There's no strength in it. Personal merit cannot be derived from another's applause. The scarcity illusion only works when you believe their approval is a prize you need to earn. But in reality, that prize is fake gold. They're not withholding love because you failed. They're doing it because it keeps you under their control. The Stoic solution? Detach from the illusion of scarcity. When someone pulls away, don't chase. When someone withholds, don't beg. When someone plays hot and cold, recognize it for what it is, a power play, not a reflection of your worth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Let me add this. If it is not real, do not value it. Because here's the truth. A person who gives affection only to control you isn't giving love. They're giving poison with sugar on top. When you stop chasing what is fake, you create space for what is real. And that's the power a narcissist never wants you to discover. Emotional manipulation, turning your empathy against you. If you're a kind person, this part will hit hard. Because your greatest strength, your empathy, is the very thing narcissists weaponize against you. Think about it. Narcissists are like emotional illusionists. They know which strings to pull, and they pull them not because they care, but because it keeps you under their influence. And one of their favorite tricks? Playing the victim. They'll tell you stories about how everyone has betrayed them, how no one understands them, how they've been hurt so deeply by others. They paint themselves as the wounded soul, and your empathy kicks in like a reflex. You feel compelled to help, to heal, to prove you're different from everyone else who hurt them. And that's exactly what they want. Because the more you invest emotionally, the harder it becomes to walk away. Here's the brutal truth. Narcissists understand that good people hate causing pain. So they exploit that by making you feel guilty for setting boundaries. Ever heard this line? I guess I can't trust anyone. I thought you were different. That's not vulnerability. That's control wrapped in sadness. The Stoics warned about this emotional slavery. Epictetus said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." What does this mean in this context? It means we need to own our emotions instead of letting them be hijacked. Your compassion is noble, but when it blinds you, it becomes a weakness. Here's the Stoic way to protect your empathy. Compassion with clarity. Help when you can, but not at the cost of your peace. Boundaries without guilt. Saying no doesn't make you cruel, it makes you wise. Detach from manipulation. If someone constantly uses sadness, guilt, or anger to make you obey, that's not love. It's emotional blackmail. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Emotional manipulation works because we forget this truth. We think their feelings are our responsibility, but feelings are theirs. Choices are yours. The next time someone uses guilt to control you, remember this. Kindness should never cost you your freedom. The grand illusion of superiority. How narcissists project power. Narcissists are masters of theater. Everything they do, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they make eye contact, is designed to send one message: I'm above you. This illusion of superiority is their ultimate armor. It hides the truth they can't accept. Deep down, they are fragile. Their ego isn't a fortress, it's glass. But they can't let you see that. So they project dominance, certainty, and confidence so aggressively that you start believing it. You see it in their tone, the way they speak as if every opinion they hold is a fact carved in stone. You see in their posture, chin high, eyes scanning the room like they own it. You see it in the subtle power plays, cutting you off mid-sentence, dismissing your achievements, making you feel small without saying a word. And here's the kicker. Most people fall for this act. Why? Because we're wired to equate confidence with competence. The louder someone says they're great, the more we assume they are. That's why so many brilliant minds stay quiet while narcissists dominate the room. But Stoicism flips this illusion on its head. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth in his time, wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that. Why do we let someone else's performance dictate our worth? Why do we shrink in the presence of arrogance? Because we confuse noise for strength. But true strength doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need validation. It is silent, steady, and rooted in reason. Here's the truth narcissists don't want you to know. Their superiority is a mask for inferiority. If they truly believed they were enough, they wouldn't need to constantly prove it. So how do you break this spell? See the performance. When someone tries too hard to look powerful, ask yourself, what are they hiding? Stop playing the game. Narcissists feed on your need to win their approval. Star that need. Anchor in stoic humility. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. True confidence isn't about being seen. It's about being secure without being seen. Remember this, the louder the crown, the emptier the throne. Your need for validation, the weak link they exploit. Let's face it, we all want to be seen. We all want to feel valued, appreciated, and understood. It's human nature. But here's the trap. The very thing you crave most is the easiest thing for a narcissist to exploit. Validation feels like oxygen to the ego. When someone praises you, notices your effort, or acknowledges your uniqueness, it lights up the reward centers in your brain. That's why it feels so good. But narcissists know this, and they use it as a leash. They start by giving you exactly what you want: constant praise, endless compliments, and the illusion of admiration. Then, slowly, they take it away. And what do? You work harder for it. You become desperate to get back that initial high. You start adjusting your behavior, your opinions, even your identity, just to win their approval again. This is why validation dependency is so dangerous. Because the person who controls your validation controls you. The Stoics saw this trap centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Why is this quote so relevant? Because it exposes the core problem. We hand over our self-worth to the verdict of others, forgetting that their judgment is out of our control. When you live for validation, you are enslaved to the moods and whims of others. If they praise you, you soar. If they ignore you, you sink. That's not freedom. That's emotional servitude. Here's how to break the chain. Shift from external to internal validation. Ask yourself, do I respect the choices I made today? If the answer is yes, that's all you need. Detach from opinions. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Can you live without applause? That's real power. Stop negotiating your worth. It's not for sale. Not for likes, not for attention, not for love. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing validation, you become more respected. Why? Because independence is magnetic. People sense when you're free from their approval, and ironically, they admire you more. But remember, admiration is not the goal. Pieces. If you take only one thing from this section, let it be this: no one can make you feel small unless you give them the ruler. The Stoic armor. How to reclaim power without losing yourself. You've seen their tricks, flattery, gaslighting, emotional manipulation, superiority games. You've seen how they target your weaknesses, your need for approval, your empathy, your craving for connection. But now comes the real question. How do you protect yourself without becoming bitter or cold? The answer lies in building what I call the Stoic armor. A mindset so strong that no manipulation can pierce it. This isn't about cutting off everyone or distrusting the world. It's about rooting your peace where no one else can reach it. Here's how the Stoics did it, and how you can too. 1. Control the controllables. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others not." Read that every day. Narcissists win when you fight for what you cannot control. Their behavior, their approval, their opinion. The only thing you own is your response. That's where your power is. When they try to guilt trip you, ask, is this in my control? No? Then let it go. When they withhold validation, ask, is my worth determined by this? No? Then move on. 2. Detach from outcomes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic armor means living by principles, not by praise. If you act with integrity and reason, the outcome, whether they like you or not, doesn't matter. 3. Build inner approval. Here's the ultimate test. Can you look in the mirror and respect the person staring back, even if the world turns against you? That's Stoic power. External validation becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. 4. Practice the pause. Narcissists thrive on reaction. They push your buttons to see you explode, cry, or chase. The Stoic pause is your shield. Before responding, breathe. Ask, is this worth my energy? What is the rational response here? What would Marcus Aurelius do? 9 times out of 10, the answer is silence or a calm boundary. 5. Redefine freedom. Freedom isn't being untouched by others. It's being untouchable where it matters most. Your mind, your values, your peace. The Stoics called this ataraxia, tranquility of the soul. Imagine living in a world full of manipulation and drama, yet moving through it untouched. Imagine knowing that no one, not even the most cunning narcissist, can own your happiness. That's not a fantasy. That's Stoicism in action. As Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. When you build this armor, you don't just survive narcissists, you make them irrelevant. Their games lose meaning because your life runs on principles, not approval. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment you no longer need control, you have it. Breaking the cycle, transforming pain into self-mastery. If you've ever fallen for narcissist tricks, you've probably asked yourself, why me? How'd I not see it coming? That question haunts so many people. And if you're nodding right now, you're not alone. But here's the truth that changes everything. It's not weakness that made you vulnerable. It's humanity. Your need for love, validation, and connection isn't a flaw. It's a natural part of being human. Narcissists simply learned how to weaponize it. The danger isn't in having these needs. It's in being unconscious of them. Awareness is what breaks the cycle. Pain is what teaches awareness. And awareness is what builds mastery. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, loss, and endless political games. And yet he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That means your pain isn't a prison, it's the path. Every time you recognize a trick, every time you catch yourself craving validation, every time you walk away from manipulation, you're forging strength that most people never build. So, how do you transform this pain into power? 1. Extract the lesson. Don't just ask, why did this happen? Ask, what is this teaching me? Maybe it's teaching you boundaries. Maybe it's teaching you to slow down and trust actions over words. Maybe it's teaching you to value inner peace above external praise. 2. Build new standards. The old you tolerated disrespect for fear of losing love. The new you knows this. Love that demands your self-betrayal isn't love, it's control. Your new standard should be simple. If it costs me my peace, it's too expensive. 3. Practice the Stoic reframe. Next time you feel hurt by someone's withdrawal, remind yourself, they didn't take anything from me. They only revealed what was never real. Next time you feel the urge to chase approval, ask, why would I beg for something I can give myself? 4. Turn resentment into resolve. You could stay angry at narcissists. You could hate them for their tricks. Or you could thank them silently for forcing you to build unshakable strength. Because let's face it, without them, you might never have discovered the power you hold inside. 5. Live the Stoic truth. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If what happened to you made you wiser, calmer, and stronger, then it didn't break you. It built you. Here's the ultimate shift. Narcissists thrive on control. The best revenge isn't anger or retaliation. It's becoming so centered, so grounded, that no one can move you without your permission. Pain brought you here. Mastery will take you further. And freedom? That's your reward. You've now seen the blueprint, the tricks narcissists use, why they work, and how Stoic philosophy dismantles their power. From flattery to gaslighting, from guilt trips to superiority games, they all rely on the same weakness, your dependence on what you cannot control. The moment you reclaim that power, the game ends. Because here's the truth. No one owns your mind unless you hand over the keys. When you start practicing Stoic principles, pausing before reacting, detaching from opinions, and validating yourself, you don't just survive manipulation, you transcend it. You become unshakable. And that's why this matters. Narcissists aren't going away. They'll keep playing their games. But now, you have the armor. You have the wisdom. And most importantly, you have the choice. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Don't just learn these principles. Live them. Walk through life with the calm strength of someone who cannot be bought, baited, or broken." Now, if this video gave you clarity, if it helped you see things differently, I want you to do 2 things. 1, subscribe to this channel, because we're building a community of people who refuse to be controlled. People who want real strength, not fake power. 2. Share this video with someone who needs this message. Maybe a friend stuck in a toxic relationship. Maybe someone doubting themselves. Send it to them. It could change everything. And before you go, comment below, I choose freedom. Because freedom begins the moment you claim it. Thank you for watching. Stay strong. Stay stoic. And remember, your mind is yours. Don't give it away.